Let's get right into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how some of the most successful people on the planet really think. We're talking about 10 core mindsets that drive world-class CEOs. Basically, a blueprint for how they operate and, win.
You ever just look at someone who's incredibly successful and think, what is going on in their head that's different from mine? It's usually not just about what they're doing, right? It's about how they think. So what's their secret? How do they see the world in a way that most of us don't? Well, let's find out.
Okay, first things first. We're starting with the absolute foundation, tuning your inner world. Because, let's be real, before you can make any kind of impact out there, you've got to get the world inside your own head sorted out. And to kick us off, we've got a really powerful idea about self-worth from, of all people, Oscar winner Angelina Jolie. She basically draws this super clear line in the sand about whose opinion actually counts. This just completely flips the script on validation, doesn't it? It's all about playing to an internal scorecard. I mean, picture this. A CEO is getting hammered by Wall Street to slash their research budget just to make the quarterly numbers look good. The external scorecard is screaming, "Do it! Make us happy!" But their internal scorecard, the one that's based on their duty to their team and the company's future, that one says, "No way, hold the line." They're making decisions based on their own values, not just the noise from the cheap seats.
All right, so we've got internal validation down. Now let's switch gears to something a little more aggressive. Let's talk radical responsibility. And for this, we've got some seriously blunt advice from UFC champ Conor McGregor. And yeah, he definitely doesn't hold back.
What McGregor's saying here is honestly brutally simple. Complaining gets you nowhere. It's totally passive, it sucks your energy, and at the end of the day, what does it accomplish? Nothing. The CEO mindset is all about action. It's about owning your situation 100%. Because the second you stop pointing fingers and start taking ownership, that's the exact moment you get the power to actually change things.
Okay, so once that inner world is dialed in, it's time to actually engage with everything outside. So for section 2, we're going to look at how these leaders actually go out and interact with ideas and opportunities.
So you think game-changing ideas, he probably thinks Steve Jobs, right? Well, he actually left us a roadmap for innovation, and it's way simpler than you might think. It's definitely not about just locking yourself in a dark room waiting for some magical inspiration to strike.
This just proves that creativity isn't something you have, it's something you do. It's an active process. You got to watch the world, actually talk to people, experiment a little, question why things are the way they are. And maybe the biggest one, get out of your bubble. Break your routine. Your next big breakthrough probably isn't hiding under the papers on your desk. But what about when you miss out? You see an opportunity and poof, it's gone. Is that it? Game over? Well, Richard Branson from Virgin has this amazing analogy that's actually pretty calming. Now, this isn't an excuse to just sit back and do nothing. It's about switching your brain from scarcity mode, where you feel like you have to jump on every single bus that comes by, to an abundance mindset. The whole point is just to be at the bus stop, paying attention, and being ready to go. That way, you're not panicked, you can let the wrong buses pass, and be totally prepared to hop on the perfect one when it finally shows up. All right, our mindset is tuned up, we're out there taking action. Now let's talk about the fuel for the whole thing, money. Section 3 is all about the specific mindsets you need to build actual, lasting wealth.
And we've got to start with this absolute classic from the man himself, Warren Buffett. Seriously, this one sentence could completely rewire how you think about your job and your money.
This really cuts to the core of the difference between active and passive income. See, most of us are stuck in the trap of trading our time for money. If you don't work, you don't get paid. But the CEO mindset, it's obsessed with the opposite, building passive income, creating assets, building systems that make money for you around the clock, whether you're working or not. The goal is so simple but so powerful. Have your money work for you instead of you always working for it.
But listen, just making more money isn't the whole story. Not even close. Robert Kiyosaki, the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, drops the other super critical piece of the puzzle. And it's a warning that honestly most people just completely ignore. So this brings it all together, right? You've got two sides of the financial coin. Think of it like a football team. Buffett's advice, making money while you sleep, that's your high-powered offense. But Kiyosaki's advice on managing cash flow, that's your lockdown defense. And you can't win a championship with just one or the other. You need both to really succeed financially. Okay, so we've got the internal mindset, the external action, the financial engine, but how do you keep it all going? How do you sustain that success for the long haul? That brings us to our final section,
the pillars of growth.
You know how everyone always says, go find a mentor, you need a mentor. Well, Sheryl Sandberg, who used to be the COO at Meta, she comes along and just flips that whole idea completely upside down.
This is a huge shift in thinking, right? It's about going from seeking to attracting. So instead of spending all your time chasing down busy, successful people begging for advice, you take all that energy and pour it into just being incredible at what you do. Because when you're consistently knocking it out of the park, guess what? The right mentors, they start to notice you. They'll want to work with you. You don't ask for mentorship, you earn it.
So what about leadership itself? What does that even mean? Well, author Simon Sinek has a definition that's all about empowering people, not just being the boss. The big idea here is that a great leader is a multiplier. They don't just add their own effort, they multiply the effort of their entire team. They're not there to give all the answers. They're there to ask the right questions that help people find the answers themselves. And you know the crazy part? Their ultimate goal is to basically make themselves unnecessary, to build a team that's so capable, so strong that it can crush it even if they're not there. And finally, let's wrap up with the two foundational resources that everything else is built on. These are the non-negotiables. First, from Ben Franklin, the simple truth that time is the one thing you can never ever get back. It's your most valuable asset, period. And second, from the Dalai Lama, the idea of mutual respect. It's the currency that makes every single human interaction work, in business and in life. If you don't master how you use your time and how you treat people, none of the other stuff matters in the long run. So, let's just do a super quick recap of this whole blueprint. 1. Tune your inner world. Get your head right. 2. Act on the outer world. Go engage with ideas. 3. Build that financial engine. Play both offense and defense. And 4. Keep it all going with the pillars of growth: leadership, time, and respect.
Wow. Okay, we covered a lot, right? We've really peeked inside the minds of some of the world's top performers. But here's the thing. Knowing this stuff is great, but it's just trivia if you don't do anything with it. So that leaves just one final and honestly the most important question of all. Looking back at everything we talked about, which one of these mindsets are you going to start using today?